today on the CTV News at 5. Not pot. The biggest drug bust in Lethbridge's history may not be a drug bust at all. Plus, glowing reviews for Canada's youngest multiple killer. And
yes, we will.
Dr. Jane Goodall inspires students and teachers in the East Kootenay.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. It was originally billed as the largest grow-op in Lethbridge history, but it turns out that hundreds of plants dug out of a backyard in North Lethbridge weren't marijuana after all. As a result, police have dropped one of the charges against the alleged owner of the plants. Back in July, police seized what they believe to be 1,600 marijuana plants from a backyard in the 900 block of 13th Street North. Samples were sent to a lab for testing. Police now say the plants tested negative for TLC, indicating they are not marijuana. The lab tests didn't identify the plants, though. At the time, neighbors questioned the police action and told CTV News the plants were known as false daisies. 41-year-old Ryan Rockman is still facing other charges in connection with the 700 grams of dried marijuana and some cannabis resin and cash seized from inside the home.
Police did send samples of these materials to the lab for testing. The plants have tested negative for THC, indicating that they are not marijuana. However, the results do indicate that the other items seized, the dried cannabis marijuana and cannabis resin, were confirmed. So what we have today is the withdrawal of one charge, but the other 4 charges remain.
Rockman will make his next court appearance on October the 5th. 43-year-old Brent Allen Osco is also charged with possession of a controlled substance in connection with the same investigation. The Lethbridge Regional Police Service says the decision to seize the plants was made with the best information they had at the time, and they say they can't comment any further because the case is still before the courts. A public fatality inquiry into the tasering death of a Brooks man started in Medicine Hat today. In March of 2009, blood was left on the street in this Brooks neighborhood where RCMP tried to arrest a man after reports he was trying to break into a home. Officers said that 40-year-old Grant Prentice was injured and acting aggressive when they showed up. When 2 officers couldn't arrest him, 2 more officers arrived and ended up using the taser. Prentice went into cardiac arrest and was taken to hospital where he later died. The inquiry will wrap up in Medicine Hat Provincial Court Friday. Canada's youngest multiple killer is now expressing significant and genuine remorse for murdering her Medicine Hat family when she was just 12 years old. The girl, who's about to turn 19, still cannot be named, at a rehabilitation review in Medicine Hat today. Caseworkers say that the girl has made significant progress in her therapy. She received glowing reviews and has been labeled a low risk to reoffend. The girl is currently attending university in Calgary and has a full-time job, and she's currently living alone. She's in the final stage of a 10-year sentence for the April 2006 murders of her parents and 8-year-old brother. Now, the girl, appearing by closed-circuit TV today, declined any comment in court. Her positive progress has left the court to move her semi-annual reviews to only once a year. Meanwhile, police are having trouble finding the next of kin of a Calgary man drowned in Lake Newell this weekend. The body was found floating in the water on Saturday morning. Lake Newell is just south of Brooks. RCMP say a local boater found both the man's body and a kayak floating nearby. Police say he was wearing a life jacket, but it wasn't properly done up. It's believed the man was in his mid-30s. The medical examiner is helping in the investigation. RCMP say the name will not be released until his family has been notified. A young boy who was run over in Clare's home over the weekend is back with his family tonight. The 5-year-old was flown to Calgary Hospital by Stars on Saturday after a vehicle turned the corner at Highway 2 and 50th Avenue in Clare's home. The boy was treated for his injuries and released. RCMP continued to investigate. No word yet on whether charges will be laid. And a cyclist was taken to hospital with minor injuries after being hit by a car last night in Lethbridge. It happened around 7 o'clock. A man on a bicycle attempted to cross 6th Street South on a red light when he was hit by a car in the westbound lane of 6th Avenue South. The driver slammed on the brakes but clipped the rear tire. The 43-year-old man was taken to hospital for precautionary reasons and later released. No charges will be laid. Witnesses told police in Pincher Creek that a 13-year-old boy wasn't paying attention to traffic when he pulled out in front of a truck and was hit. It happened in the northbound lanes on Highway 6 Thursday. The boy was taken to hospital by ambulance with minor injuries. The driver wasn't hurt. No charges were laid. There are some outstanding warrants against him. Now police are hoping you can help track him down. This is 29-year-old Kenneth Ambrose Gravel. He's described as a non-white man with brown eyes and numerous tattoos. He stands around 5'6" and weighs 161 pounds. If you have any information about him or his whereabouts, you're urged to contact either regional police or Crime Stoppers. Two Regina men are facing drug charges after police found 21 pounds of marijuana in their vehicle. The men were traveling east on the Trans-Canada Highway near Dunmore when police stopped them. After searching the vehicle, officers charged the driver and passenger with drug trafficking. The men were released on bail and are set to appear in Medicine Hat Provincial Court later this month. Police estimate the street value of the seized drugs to be around $100,000. Okay, Dory Rossiter, we have got an up and down week in terms of temperatures, and it's going to go down from here on.
Yeah, it'll be a bit of a shock to everybody come Wednesday, Jackie. We've got temperatures 5-7 degrees for daytime highs, some precipitation on the way as well. And it's a fine line between when the showers have a possibility of turning into some flurries because the overnight lows are going to be hovering right around the freezing mark. So a degree either way, and we could get a little bit of the white stuff. Not expected to stick around, though. I'll have all the details in a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Dory. Almost 4 weeks after E. coli bacteria was first detected at the XL Foods plant in Brooks, the recall list continues to grow. Dozens of additions were made over the weekend, with the recall list now in the hundreds. The latest expansion includes all beef products with manufacturing dates of August the 24th, 27th to the 29th and September the 5th, in addition to all of the previously recalled ground beef products. If you have recalled products in your home or you're unsure, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency is urging you to check with the store where the product was purchased or just throw it out. All of the meats were processed in last September or early September or late August that are now on the recall. And for information that is available on our CTV Calgary website, you can go there to find the complete list of recalls. A major bus line is no longer serving southern Alberta communities. As of today, Greyhound has eliminated routes along the Crow's Nest Highway and Highway 2. Communities east of Lethbridge and between Fort Macleod and Calgary won't have passenger service. Greyhound reduced service when the province deregulated the highway passenger industry. Last fall, Greyhound cut prices on some southern Alberta routes when Red Arrow began offering express trips between Lethbridge and Calgary. The Consul General of Japan spent the day exploring some agricultural production facilities in the county of Lethbridge today. During his trip, Consul General Tsushima Fuduka toured the Pioneer Hybrid facility east of Lethbridge. The plant supplies canola seed to farmers who export canola to Japan. Fuduka says he has often visited the city of Lethbridge, but's never been to the surrounding area until now. He says Japan gets 95% of its canola seed from Canada.
And canola is a very important product for Japan. We import a lot of canola seeds to Japan. Our tempura is fried by the canola oil in Japan. So this kind of connection is very important for us.
I think the big thing is to make people more aware of what is actually here and what we do have that goes out of the country to different places like Japan.
The tour also included a mustard plant and a large greenhouse near Picture Butte. It was an amazing opportunity for East Kootenay students to be inspired by one of the best-known scientists and activists of our time. Dr. Jane Goodall spent a few days in the Cranbrook area delivering her message, A Reason for Hope, to school children, adults, and educators. Kimberly Davidson has more.
A face-to-face meeting with Dr. Jane Goodall is a dream come true for Libby Wilmot.
Because I was a big fan of her, and when I grow up, I wanted to be like her, and she wanted to meet me too.
The 8-year-old gained Goodall's attention by declining presents on her last birthday, instead raising money to sponsor a chimpanzee through the Jane Goodall Foundation.
is once a child becomes empowered and you start listening, then they start taking off.
It's that spirit of empowerment to create change that Dr. Goodall is bringing to this group of students and educators in Cranbrook through her Reason for Hope presentation.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Thank you.
I think it was very interesting and inspiring.
Going back to our mother and child.
While relaying stories of her time spent with chimpanzees in Africa, she's also sending out a call to action for each child to work to improve the world they live in through her Roots and Shoots program.
They must choose one project to help animals. Of course, we're animals, but I mean animals. One project to help people, and one project to help the environment.
Tens of thousands of young people in more than 120 countries already participate in Roots and Shoots projects, like Libby, inspired by Dr. Jane Goodall to make a difference. Kimberly Davidson, CTV News, Cranbrook.
The Lethbridge Symphony Orchestra hopes a new downtown office resonates with the community. The office opened on 4th Avenue and 7th Street South last week. Directors say it'll give the symphony a visible stronghold in the downtown community and will provide more space for merchandise and make it easier for people to pick up tickets. The orchestra has taken over its own ticket sales this year and began looking for a new office after hearing comments from patrons.
The patrons, I think, are really going to be the benefactors in the long run, because we have a storefront now, parking right up in front of the building, and so our patrons will have very easy access in and out, and I think our presence in the downtown core will be enhanced by this.
It's a real marketing move for us. It provides us the opportunity to be participating in events like the Art Walk this weekend, and participating in the downtown BRZ events as well too, and really demonstrating to the community that we are a symphony of our community.
Lethbridge's 7th annual Run for the Cure beat last year's fundraising totals. Runners who took part in yesterday's event raised more than $169,000 for the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. 870 people ran from Exhibition Park around Henderson Lake to support the cause. The money funds breast cancer research, early detection campaigns, and programs for those diagnosed with the disease.
Breast cancer affects 1 in 9 women, so it's very prevalent, and I think, most people have some family member or friend that has been touched by the disease, and so yeah, it's a really true to heart cause.
My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2005, and she's a survivor. So if it weren't for the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation and the supports that they provided our family and the medical care that she got, I wouldn't have her today.
And it's not too late to donate to the Run for the Cure Lethbridge. Fundraising continues until the end of the year. And speaking of money, time now for a look at the day's markets.